Afternoon, and thank you for joining us today for our nutrition program, COVID Waste Management with Linda Bruce. Linda has done a number of nutrition programs for us in the past, and we appreciate her efforts to keep our village healthy and safe. Let me tell you a little bit about Linda. Linda has worked as a licensed nutritionist in the United States and abroad. She is an international trainer and speaker and has delivered presentations for the Ministries of Health, the World Health Organization, Fortune 500 companies, US government agencies, universities, and non-governmental organizations. Linda is experienced, has great expertise, and with all that, she is still able to convey simple, practical information with passion and enthusiasm. Please welcome Linda Bruce. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Can everybody hear me? You hear me? Okay, great. Hi, everybody. I think I know many of you guys. It's good to see you, Jane and Lorna and Jonah. Nice to meet you. And of course, Nadia, my neighbor. I'll get going because I've got a lot to cover. First of all, I just want to say we are in a very weird, unprecedented time. So what I would tell you before this time is a little bit different than what I'm going to say now. So I'm going to actually be a little more gentle and less dogmatic because the times call for it. First of all, I think this is a great time to really mess up your nutrition. And I have done it royally, eating bags of cookies out of isolation, frustration, just, watching buildings being boarded up, and it's just a very strange time. And also I've improved my nutrition by adding much more vegetables to my diet. So it is what it is. It's a good time and a bad time, and you just get through the best you can. But the most important thing is it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do to cope with what you've got. And the most important thing is to just forgive yourself, love yourself, and do the best you can. So that said, doesn't mean I'm going to give up lightly on my nutrition tips. But I'm just going to say, if you flubbed up, we've all done it, and we're going to probably continue to do it. But there's great opportunity to also improve our health through nutrition. So let's talk about that. First of all, when Nadia approached me about this, she was explaining that some people in the village have reported losing weight during this time, and some people have reported gaining weight, and it's usually called the COVID-10 or the COVID-15 or 50 or whatever it is for anybody. I actually have more or less stayed the same. I've lost a pound or two, mostly because I'm not working out, so it's probably muscle. But then I've been on a very steady diet for many, many decades. That doesn't mean I haven't scarfed down a couple bags of cookies in one sitting out of pure frustration. So I am definitely gone back to old habits. So first of all, I'm going to just say it's natural to lose weight. I'm going to talk about weight loss first because it has its benefits and not so good benefits. So first of all, it's natural to lose weight. You're probably not as motivated to cook. You're probably not as motivated to get around and do things. You're not as motivated to eat healthfully. And I have seen many people report losing weight. Even a good friend of mine who's also now caring for aging parents has lost a whole pant size, and which she can ill afford. So part of it is just not taking care of herself, not being conscious. And I'm just going to say that losing a little bit of weight, we don't mind going down a size or two and looking good on our clothes. But on the other hand, it makes us much more vulnerable to illnesses and being frail. And frailty at our age is not our best friend. And we need to stay strong. And it's probably not even a bad thing to be a good 5-10 pounds over than it would be to 5-10 pounds under. So at this point, I'm going to say, if you're losing weight, stop it. And I'll talk about ways to improve what you're doing. But I want to say one more thing, because we can sort of, because of COVID, we're not probably going to our doctors as often for routine checkups and things. But if you're really losing weight and you're not quite sure why, um, get a checkup with your doctor. There might be some underlying things that have nothing to do with your diet. So if you really are losing weight, I'm not alarming you. I'm just saying, just check all the boxes, do your due diligence, and check it out with the doctor to make everything okay, you know? Now, if you are losing weight and you want to stop it, I'm not suggesting you gain a lot more weight back, but at least stop the weight loss, because again, frailty is not good for our muscles, it's not good for our bones, it's not good for our health. If we ever end up sick and in bed, frailty is going to get us faster than the disease does. So I really recommend, and most of you who've heard me speak, I am anal about protein. So please up your protein content. You hear me, Jane? Up your protein content. Make sure you get that 10, 15, or better yet, 15 to 20 grams of protein per meal. And that means breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When you divide your protein up like that evenly between meals, it's more sparing to your muscles and you're less likely to lose muscle loss. So I will add that little tips in my notes after this talk about ways to do that. So make sure that you are eating enough protein. It's really important. If you don't feel like eating, get a protein shake. I'll put some types of good protein shakes in my notes. The other thing is, if you're losing weight, you don't really want to, now's the time to snack. And I'm not talking about potato chips or cookies, although they do make you feel good after, for at least for 10 minutes. But I'm saying a little fattier items like Kind bars or nuts or something that's a little bit higher in fat, because the fat has more calorie density than carbohydrates and protein. And it's, for most people who want to lose weight, I say don't snack. But if you don't want to lose weight, then snack. Okay, if you want to lose weight, don't snack. That's what I meant. If you want to not lose weight, feel free to snack. Kind bars are a great snack. You can get them at CVS. They're readily available. Protein bars are also good. The only problem with Kind bars is they're 70% fat and very little protein. And I do not consider peanuts to be protein. But they're wonderful protein bars. I'll list a couple in my notes when they're sent out. Just kind of wanted to give an overview right now, and also allow you guys to ask questions, because there might be something more specific you want to ask me. Also, you know, I fall into this category very often. I just friggin' don't want to cook. I mean, I got all the time in the world, but I just do not want to cook, because cooking involves cleaning dishes. And it involves chopping, it involves shopping. And even though I got more time to do it, I still feel like doing it, you know? So I bet every Friday I'll take myself out and get a carry out or something like that. But if you don't want to do that, or you're really struggling, and depression's not an unheard of thing at our age, and number two, during this time. So if you're feeling really kind of down the dumps, there are some meal carriers, again, ones that will deliver to your home. A good friend of mine, I couldn't think of the name right away, but she turned me on to it the other day. I don't rely on them because I'm fussy and I'm gluten free, and I don't mind cooking because I'm picky because I'm a nutritionist, I suppose. But there are a lot of good meals out there that you can supplement, and you can sort of make meals, couple of meals for yourself, and then get people to deliver meals. So there are ways to make sure you get that good nutrition in where you don't have to cook. But it's really important that you eat, because I'm telling you, I think losing a lot of weight and being frail is going to make you much more at risk than being overweight. Now, I'm not talking obese, but if we're going up a pant size or two, you know, we may not be happy with how our clothes fit, but we're not at a much higher risk significantly, unless we really gain like 20, 30, 40 pounds. Okay, so that's my point about weight loss. If you are losing weight, please see a doctor. just to make sure everything's cool. And if so, I will add some tips on how to make sure you're eating, 15, at least 15 grams of protein per meal, and also getting your snacks in. So we don't want you losing any more weight. It's not good for you right now. You may look hot in your clothes, but let's just not be vain right now. Let's just stay healthy. All right. So the next thing is weight gain. Okay. I don't know how many people have gained weight, but I hear about it all the time from my friends and people on Facebook. So that's usually the biggest problem I hear of. And again, it's not the time to be vain if you go from a 12 to a 16, but you're still healthy. It's okay. Okay. It's not the time to be vain. It's the time to be really healthy. So if we're gaining a couple pounds, but we're still really healthy, just give yourself a break. All right. Um, However, I will say, if you're gaining and you're not stopping gaining, you got to be careful because gaining too much weight is not great for your health. And besides putting you at greater risk of COVID, it's going to put you at a much greater risk of cardiovascular disease, hypertension, diabetes, all the bad things. They're not good for us anyway, and put us at a lot more risk of being vulnerable to the flu and other infections, including the COVID infection. So I'm just saying, watch your weight. Don't be anal about it. But if you keep increasing your weight, then you might see a doctor. But again, it's time to nip it in the bud a little bit. So again, one of the things that I was talking about in terms of gaining weight or not stopping the weight loss would be snacking. So if you really are finding that you're gaining weight and you don't really like it, stop snacking. Period. Full stop in the story. There's just so many studies that show, because I'll explain it really simply. So, like, if you eat a bowl of oatmeal, we all know our blood sugar goes up, and then because we eating carbs, and then your body injects insulin and other hormones to digest it, get it in your cells, and then a couple hours later, we're hungry again. That makes us want lunch, so we eat again. We feel better because all that food we've eaten has raised the insulin levels. Then all the magic that does to our blood, and then our hunger goes down because insulin's gone down, and we get hungry for a snack or for dinner or whatever. So what happens is when you have insulin is a catabolic hormone. That means it builds muscle, and it builds all kinds of stuff, but it also puts down body fat. Okay. So what you want when you eat is you have a peak and then you go down. And you have like a little fast period, like at 11 o'clock when you really want the nachos and the chips and stuff. Take advantage of the fasting period, and then you eat lunch, and your insulin goes up because you've eaten lunch, and then it goes down. So what you want are the natural spikes, up and down. So you're laying down fat and you're burning fat. You're laying down fat and you're burning fat. If you're snacking all the time, your insulin is up all the time, and that's all you're doing is laying down body fat. You will never, ever burn fat. Okay. So stop the snacking. All right. Eat enough at a meal so you don't have to snack. And if you have to snack, then snack on some protein and vegetables that don't raise your insulin. Crackers and cookies and a bunch of nachos and pastries. And Shane, you wouldn't believe it, but there are more pastry shops now than Peter Piper has pickled peppers. And there are long lines. There are long lines for these pastry shops. So just be a little careful. I mean, on a weekend or whatever, I get it, but the massive weight gain is not going to help us out. So, and doesn't make us feel good either. So watch the sweets. Again, if you really need to snack, really try to find some protein bars. Again, I'll put some examples of good snacks in the notes. But I would get protein, some vegetables. There are other things. I'll get creative. I've got them in other documents, and I'll make it super simple. But try not to snack on carbs between the meals, because I can't tell you that it's going to put down fat then faster than you can count to 3. The other thing is exercise. Now, the gyms aren't open, or maybe they're open and you're not a gym member, or you feel at risk, you don't really want to go to the gym. But that doesn't mean you can't get out and walk. particularly for people who don't live in cold DC right now. But it's sunny. It's beautiful outside. So even getting out, I had this as the end, but I'm going to put it right now. Sunshine does great things for your mood. You know, it raises your melatonin. If you can watch the sunset, it's remarkable for your sleep and for your well-being. I mean, it's as good as you know, taking the Xanax. It really is. Sunshine is really important. So even if you just walk in to get a coffee or walking outside, looking at nature, going outside to see the sunset for an hour, do something to get out of your house, number one. And number two, you got to move the body. If you don't move the body, it just, you need to move your muscles to get them activated and working. So getting a little bit of exercise, I'm not going to be anal about it and say we need to build muscle, but you got to move. Okay. The other thing is, be gentle with yourself. I mean, we're on really weird times. And for me too, my emotions go up and they go down, you know? And if there are times that you just freak out, need a bunch of sweets, you just do it. But then you come back to yourself and you get back on the plane, I mean, on the routine. Like I say, I've had moments where I just go through half a bag of cookies because it's just isolating to be at home by yourself. But what I do is once I get my fill, I'm going like, nah. And I take those cookies and I throw them away because they do not stay in the house. I don't know if some people have the restraint to be able to do that, but I just don't want to fall. I mean, I have my moments, obviously, but I don't want to make them tempting. So if there's anything in your apartment or your home that you cannot keep your hands off, I'm telling you, either don't buy it or eat it in one sitting or part of it in one sitting, and then throw it out. Just go to the dumpster and throw it out. Because you will not be able to regulate yourself and not eat it. So you guys who are chipaholics or cookieaholics or chocolateholics or whatever, get it out of your house. Okay. So if you need a pastry, some of you or most of you are in the West End, go to Georgetown, go to the New Tot Bakery, get a pastry, and that's it. But don't buy 12 and take them home. Okay. Like I said, don't snack. You do not keep that insulin level the same the whole day long, because all you're going to do is lay down fat. So those are the main things I wanted to talk about in terms of weight gain. I know that you guys always have a lot of questions and we always go over time for questions. So in order to try to guess what you guys are really struggling with right now, I think I would like to open it up for questions, and then I can add different information. And then I will follow up with the document that outlines action items for the things that I talked about.
Okay.
Anybody has questions?
I'm currently snacking on my apple, so I wasn't sure if that
Apples
qualified as healthy enough.
There's one more thing I wanted to say. You guys, increase your vegetables intake. I don't know why I didn't make it in my notes. Vegetables, vegetables, vegetables. It is the time for vegetables, and fruits and pears. They're filling, they're sweet, they're good for you. And those are really, really good, healthy snacks. In fact, I got myself off a cookie addiction by getting these dried apples at the farmer's market. And when I really, really wanted cookies, I ate those, and they were crunchy and they were sweet. And then I didn't need my cookies. So, all right, Jonas, sorry, go ahead.
Well, if you have any questions, you can type them into the chat, or I know a couple people came unmuted, so I see Brooke over there if you want to go first, and then Lorna have one, but just chime in.
Say it, right? I don't remember exactly what you said. You said something like, I don't count peanuts as protein. Talking about nuts in general, I mean, how and not just as protein, but in general about nuts in the diet.
Okay, so in olden days that we all remember, except for Jonas, when they had Weight Watchers, nuts were put in the same category as butter and oil. Okay, and for good reason. So when I say protein, there's actually 7, but I'm just going to use my hand, pretend like there are 5. There are 22 amino acids, and protein is made up of amino acids, but there are 5 that our body cannot. Well, there's actually 7 or 9, but I'm just going to pretend like they're 5 to show, give you an example. So when you eat peanuts, they're legumes. Okay, they're legumes like, well, peanuts are legumes.
Is this peanuts or just nuts in general? That's what I'm trying to
Nuts
sort
in
out.
general, consider them as fat. Do not consider
Okay.
them as protein. Peanuts are different.
Oh.
Peanuts are considered legumes.
Okay.
So they have a couple more amino acids. Nuts may have one of the amino acids, but it's not complete. So it's, and moreover, even if it had a little bit of protein in it, there's so much fat in it that you can't count it. So you want to always count nuts as like your butter or your oils.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they're bad to eat. I'm just saying, don't count nuts as protein. Lorna?
I sort of have, well, you know that I don't eat vegetables very
Yes,
much.
I know.
So I try to disguise it by making things like zucchini muffins. I use extra zucchini. I use whole wheat flour, and I put in walnuts. And I make the small ones. Is that, am I,
No,
no, that won't
carb.
work.
Sorry, girl.
As a
We've
way-
had this. I've done your diet for you. Go back to your notes. Not the carb, my dear. Now, if you mix it into a casserole, like if you make a soup and you throw in spinach and carrots, that
Yeah.
counts.
Yeah.
But not a muffin. No, sorry.
And then the other thing I find, I love cheese. The
Okay.
varieties of cheese, and I don't know if some are better than others. And I tend to use that as a snack. Is that healthy?
Yeah, this cheese is fine. It's full protein, so I'm all for protein. I would, well, you don't eat vegetables. I was gonna, well, eat an apple with it, you know, or eat a half an apple with it. But try to, if you have a snack, try to add a fruit to it, you know. But no, cheese is fine. The problem is a lot of people can't restrain themselves from cheese and they eat too much. So that's the problem. So yes, I see everybody nodding. I was like that too. Okay. I'm now lactose intolerant, so I can't, but trust me, I'd be there with you if I could. Yeah, no, you gotta restrain from too much cheese.
Okay. Thank
It's
you.
a great snack. And I would change cheese for snacks and like have a pear and cheese or apple and cheese, something, and then have other things for meals, unless you're vegetarian and you rely on cheese. Another great thing, and it's much better than cheese because you can get the lower fat versions, is cottage cheese, or you can get yogurt, or, you know, if you like milky things. So there are other alternatives other than just cheese. Cheese is addictive, and I'll tell you exactly why it's addictive. Salt and fat. That's exactly why. Potato chips, Fritos, all this stuff. I mean, even I'm not a chip person. I'm not a salty person. I cannot stop eating a bag of potato chips. I can't. And I don't even like this stuff, you know? So and they're just trying to sell shit, you know? But they study rats, they study people, and they find the perfect combination where people cannot stop eating. So they have researched it. All right. So I just want to say these companies are not doing anything in your favor. They sell, then they make delicious things for parties and stuff. But so the sodium and the fat and the cheese is what's really so addictive. So if you really need a snack, I go alternate, you know, just, I'm not saying don't eat cheese, but get cottage cheese, get some yogurt, get some other things that would get your dairy fix on. Cheese is also very constipating, and that is also not really good to have.
So would you say 1 ounce of cheese at a time in terms of snack?
An ounce of cheese will have about 6 or 7 grams of protein. I would save the most of my protein for the 3 meals. So I say an ounce of cheese would be great. If you wanted a little bit more, here's the thing. Cheese is addictive. I also am addicted to cheese if I were to eat it. I just don't because I'm lactose intolerant. However, eat the cheese and the apple. And then if you really feel like you need more cheese, then get another piece. Don't cut 2 ounces because you'll eat the 2 ounces. If you eat 1 ounce, eat 1 ounce. Eat the apple, drink some hot tea or something, and then if you gotta have another half an ounce or an ounce, then eat it. But don't just cut yourself 2 ounces and say you're only going to eat 1 because you won't.
No, I'm good at cutting an ounce or even a half an ounce. If I'm putting it on top of a salad, I'll do a half an ounce, just to give it a little bunch. I mean,
Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah. Good. Sorry,
Yeah,
Patricia, I
just
didn't
do it
see
like
your
that.
face. Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. I stay away from cheese in general, but I do the mozzarella sticks. They're 80 calories and low fat, lower
And they
fat.
got protein in them.
And you get the protein, and I do it with a piece of apple. So I feel like I'm good on that. But I wondered whether Chev, was a better cheese to have than a cheddar, for example, or cheese.
You
Cheese is
know
cheese.
what? Variety is the spice of life.
Okay, gotcha.
I would one week do mozzarella, another week do cheddar. Just, don't bore yourself. This is not the time to really deprive yourself. Enjoy where you're eating. It's really, really important that you enjoy it and cheap, but not every day.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So just
No,
make
once
a
a
large
week is fine
variety.
with me. Yeah, once a week
Yeah.
is fine with me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hey, Joe. Hi, Jane. How are you?
You gotta unmute yourself. You're gonna ask a
Unmute,
question,
baby.
Jane.
Unmute.
I have a question. I'm not sure I remember what it's like to be hungry. Meaning in the past, I distinctly remembered being hungry. Now, I don't feel full and I don't feel hungry. I don't feel anything. So I don't know when to stop eating or to start eating. It's just I've lost that ability to know when I'm hungry.
Well, part of it is lack of exercise and lack of muscle. Because trust me, when you start exercising, you're hungry. Okay. And I also have the same thing, although I'm hungry all the time. So, but when I stopped exercising, I sometimes can go longer between meals, or I don't eat as much. That's the other thing. So when you lose your muscle mass, you lose the desire to eat more because your metabolism lowers. So when your metabolism lowers, you don't need as many calories. So I don't know if you're out there walking, Nadia. I don't see you. I don't pass you as much in the lobby as much, but you should. It's been gorgeous. And that walking will invigorate you. That cold weather will invigorate you. And it's important to stay as much on a routine as possible, as much as you were before. But the reason you're not hungry is because you're not exercising.
Okay, so.
Yeah, Jane.
I couldn't find my unmute button, but anyway, now I am. I think Jonas helped. But I take a little handful of walnuts almost every morning and put it on my, I usually, I switch off between cereal, dry cereal, oatmeal, and then sometimes we have eggs. But when I have the cereal, I have a handful of walnuts and I'm pretty sure I started that for heart health. And I know they have fat, but I'm told that the oil or what's in the walnuts is good for your heart, and it has protein in it. What do you think about that?
I think that's fine. It's what I have a problem with is people saying I'm going to have a couple nuts for a snack and eat the whole bag. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple nuts on your on your oatmeal is not so bad. But what's really going to help your heart health is exercise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, but no, that's fine. Handful. Okay. I'm not against nuts. I'm against relying on nuts for protein. Okay. Just know that you're adding good fats to your meal, whatever that is.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. There's you know, the exercise person at GW told us about these online exercise programs that I've been doing, and they're really good. You can watch it online and you're in your own room, and it's, you know, you only need about 5 feet. And this woman, Jenny McClendon, she's in the East Coast, but she has these several different styles and types, like 30 minutes and programs for newcomers and seniors. And it's been great, actually. I don't know what I do because walking just isn't my thing, walking outside. I like to do it.
Yeah,
And-
no, everybody has, I mean, I'm an
It's-
outdoorsy person, your typical Sagittarius. I got to be outside like 24/7. But a lot of people like those kinds of things. And I think if you can share with the rest of the group, the woman, the Zoom link or whatever the program that she teaches. There's also, for those of us on Medicare, there's Silver Script, and they have a lot of exercises also on Silver Sneakers. That's what
Silver
it's called.
Sneakers,
Silver
yeah.
Sneakers. They've got a lot of exercise programs on that as well.
Oh,
So, and if yoga is your thing, there's tons of stuff online right now. The most important thing is to find what blows your skirt up and just do it. You know, if it's yoga, if it's aerobics, if it's Tai Chi, whatever it is,
Yeah.
just do it. You got to find something that really, really floats your boat and that you enjoy doing it and you don't mind doing it by yourself watching television. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what it is. Yes. You're gonna, yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
I think that'd be a good idea if we could, at the end of the program, send into you any links we use. Like I do something called Yoga Vista. I couldn't hear what your was, that have a lot of yoga programs. Maybe we could share this information. And for Silver Sneakers, you said, what do you go to find that?
Well, if you're on Medicare, you should already be eligible.
Oh, I'm sure probably am. I just had never done it.
I think you have to sign up for it, but it's
Oh.
free. So just go to silversneakers.com and they'll ask for your ARP card or whatever. And you can just sign up and there's all kinds of stuff, man. There's, I
One
mean,
thing I've-
all kinds of stuff.
I found useful, in addition to like exercise classes, with so much time at the computer, I put a couple links on the side for like 8 minutes of rock and roll. And I'll just take a break and I'll stand up and dance, putting on, 1958 music. And then I sit back and go to my next Zoom. I mean,
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great.
it's not like time for a whole class, but 5 to 10 minute rock and roll breaks. And I get up and dance
Anything.
around and then sit back down.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, I often thought about getting one of those little trampoline things and just get up in the morning and
Yeah.
bounce on that, in the morning, particularly when it's going to get really cold, just to get my juices going, it looks kind of fun. So,
yeah.
but that will also increase your appetite. So just remember, if you do exercise more, great that you have a good appetite, but save that appetite for a real meal with protein vegetables. And, I want to say a thing about vegetables because the one thing, as I've told you, I've, done my bags of cookies and things, but I also started upping my vegetables. And I learned this from a woman who actually she didn't heal herself. She put her MS into remission. She was a physician who was in a wheelchair and could hardly move. And then she went on a kind of a paleo vegetable diet and gluten-free and all that sort of stuff. And she was able to put her MS in remission. But the one thing that she said is add more and more vegetables to your meal. So I used to steam maybe 2 vegetables together. Now I steam 4. So for lunch, I usually have 4 vegetables. For dinner, I have 4 vegetables. And then I have 2 fruits. So that's 10 fruits and vegetables a day. I mean, you kind of anal about that. But even if you have just 1 vegetable, Lorna, I know you're not going to do this. But even if you have 1 vegetable, add 2. Find a way to add a second one. So gradually increase. If you only have 1 fruit, add 2. So this is a time for learning and for changing. And let's become a butterfly and come out of this thing different, with more coping strategies, with better exercise, with a better diet. And one of the best things you can do is increase your vegetable intake, that and protein, because I'm a protein queen. But vegetables and protein, man, I mean, that will just up your game like you wouldn't believe it.
Well, I've just, I love pasta. And I've discovered there's turmeric pasta, there's red lentil pasta, there's cauliflower pasta, there's brown rice pasta. Is that one way to get vegetables?
No, those
Oh.
are carbs. I'm sorry, Lorna. We've had this discussion. A
Look at
vegetable is a vegetable. You pull it out of the ground and you cook it. But you can add spinach. You can steam your spinach to the pasta.
Okay.
You can do tomatoes. Go back to the notes I gave you.
Yeah.
There's a whole list of vegetables. I
tried.
strongly.
You know what, Linda? I don't cook. And since March, cooking 3 meals a day is a challenge. And I wind up getting bored cooking the same thing over and over.
Right.
But I do try to keep some frozen chopped spinach thawed handy that I can throw in eggs or pasta or something. But I'm just bored. And so one of the questions I have is, are there any foods that are good for our mood to elevate not just that immediate satisfaction, but that give you a good feeling?
Dark
Whether
chocolate.
Chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate. Okay.
I get 70% dark chocolate. I usually get the Lindt from CVS because, again, it's just readily available. And I have a piece after every meal. I have a piece when I wake up in the morning. I have a piece after lunch. I have a piece after dinner. And as a matter of fact, I'll share it with Nadia. Maybe she can share it with you. I just saw an article in the Huffington Post that talked about the dopamine, the serotonin, and all these things and ways to increase them. And there were some food alternatives. And one of them was dark chocolate. So I will send that link to you, Nadia, if you can send it to folks.
Yeah, I'd like to
Part
see
of the
that.
reason why we eat the stuff that's not so good for us is because our serotonin's low, dopamine's low, a bunch of shit's low, So there are ways to raise it up with not necessarily a bag of chips. Okay. But Lorna, I totally agree with you. I'm bored out of my mind with my diet.
So what I did do is I have this vegetable kugel. It's spinach, carrots, and onion.
Perfect.
And I cut it into squares, put it in the freezer, and then I have it when I'm hungry. I just put it in the oven and I don't have to make it all. So
yeah, that's great. And now the good thing, just so everybody knows why I'm saying this is great, the two things that you get from spinach and carrots, particularly if they're steamed or cooked, is vitamin A. That is not destroyed in the freezer. And it's not destroyed. In fact, it's enhanced through cooking. So if you were doing this with Brussels sprouts, I'd say no. Because the good thing about Brussels sprouts is, number one, they're high in vitamin C. And number two, they have a sulfur-containing thing, which, shoot, I forgot the name of. But anyway, it's more water soluble. So if you want colored vegetables like green vegetables, orange vegetables, red vegetables even, like tomatoes, peppers have got vitamin C. So you want to eat those fresh. But the kinds of things that Lorna's talking about, they're okay frozen because you can't destroy the vitamin A by freezing it. That makes sense? Because it's an oil soluble. Yes.
So, I got a lot of questions. So if you have pepper, we use peppers a lot. Well, we put them in eggs or we put them in with salad or whatever. Does it hurt them to cook them a little bit? I thought cooking vegetables a little bit gave you more of the good ingredients or whatever.
Very good question, Jane. Bingo, because I was just about to talk about that. So peppers are a great example of a vegetable, technically a fruit, but a vegetable that both has vitamin C when it's raw. It's higher in vitamin C than almost any other kind of fruit or vegetable. Well, maybe kiwi or something has got something more, but it's very high in vitamin C, which is destroyed by light and cooking. So when you eat it raw in a salad, you get vitamin C, okay? If it's a red pepper, and you slightly saute it, you get the vitamin A from it. So
Oh,
it all
Is that-
depends. I would just mix it up. I would just say occasionally steam it, occasionally eat it raw,
Okay.
you know? But
Okay.
with carrots and spinach and kale, you gotta cook them to get the vitamin A out of it. The Brussels sprouts, you can lightly steam them and not destroy too much vitamin C. Peppers are best consumed raw if you want vitamin C, or just eat an orange.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm getting quite confused now.
Oh, Bert. Okay.
But when I went to one of your programs before, and you might remember this because we had a long interaction, I'm someone that views myself as a vegetable person. The very bad news you had when I went to your lecture is that you told me I was supposed to cook them. I love raw vegetables. I can eat huge bowls of raw vegetables. And you kind of said, no, that you got to cook them and eat them kind of soggy and cooked. But now,
Okay, now here's the thing, because I realized that I need to be less dogmatic about what I was saying. Okay, first of all, there are people, and it depends upon your Ayurvedic type or your Qigong type or whatever. There are some people who do not like raw. I'm one of those. Okay, so I love steamed everything. There are other people who only want raw. So my point is about kale, about carrots, about spinach, in particular, because these are the most common things that people eat. When you lightly steam them, you enhance the absorption of vitamin A. All right. If you eat raw vegetables and raw kale and raw spinach, you get some stuff, but you do not get the level of vitamin A if you were to steam them. So those three. You could lightly steam them and still add them to your salad. Do you see what I mean? Or nuke them
yeah, because I
for
remember
30 seconds.
you said something like, ketchup was better than raw tomatoes, and that really upset me.
Well, actually, it upset almost 3 million nutritionists. Okay. However, technically speaking, they are correct. And I'll tell you why. Because tomatoes have vitamin C in them. So ketchup ain't got no vitamin C. But what tomatoes also have are lycopene. But they don't have a lot of lycopene. You need to put a lot together, like in tomato sauce, and then you get a lot of lycopene, and enough to actually make a clinical difference, right? So tomato sauce is better for you. Now, ketchup is dreadful because it has so much sugar in
I
it.
didn't mean ketchup or sauce.
Yeah. But no, actually, technically speaking, for lycopene, tomato sauce is much better than a raw tomato. Now, I'm not saying not to eat raw tomatoes, because they're also really good for you for other things, including vitamin C. But lycopene, like for lycopene, which is good for your eyes and other things, best in a tomato sauce, because it's like putting putting millions of little microscopic things into a half a cup. Does it make sense? So it's never either
It's hard
or.
to remember the pieces.
Yeah, it's never either or. Raw is good, but when it comes to lycopene, beta carotene, and I can't pronounce it, but anyway, these things that come in deep colored vegetables like the red, the orange, and the green, if they're slightly steamed or cooked with a little bit of oil, then you greatly enhance their absorption. If they're eaten raw, you still get some stuff from it, but you don't nearly get the bonanza that you do when they're steamed with a little bit of oil. Does that make sense?
Mhm. What about raw fish?
Oh, wait, let's Patricia, I'll get to you in a minute. Patricia.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to, I don't know if you talked about roasting vegetables, but I wanted to add a comment to the woman who was talking about being bored with her diet. What I found you really have to do is plan your week so that you can plan what you're going to have and have your stuff ready. In other words, I spend maybe 2 days a week prepping things, chopping things up, roasting vegetables, and then I'm a vegetarian, pescatarian, so I eat fish and vegetables. And what I do is I have a lot of bowls. I have a lot of salads because I've got everything chopped up and ready to go. And then I have started using cauliflower rice, which everybody thinks is a creepy thing, but it's not. You put warm vegetables on it and you're getting your cauliflower. But things like quinoa are high in protein, and you don't have to have a lot. You can have a half a cup, put your veggies on top of it, and it's wonderful. And I tend to use condiments. I use a wonderful spicy plum, what is it called? Chutney.
Oh, I love chutney.
Very good.
Yeah.
And and again, you use a half a tablespoon and just you get this wonderful flavor. And then sometimes, even if I'm just having like roasted vegetables, I'll have 3 different kinds of vegetables. I'll have some yogurt on the side, with 2 tablespoons of chutney. And that kind of is like the chutney for the vegetables. So I say get things ready in advance and think about things that you like,
Yeah.
and have this stuff. I notice for me, I have to have this stuff ready. Otherwise, I'm going to reach for a carb. I'll make a piece of toast, I'll do anything. But if I've got cucumbers and hummus, and I make my own hummus so that it's low in fat and low in sodium, because hummus is very high in sodium. But if you make it yourself, you don't get it. The sodium is high.
Yeah, prep is really important. And the one good thing that Lorna does do is she keeps a lot of frozen vegetables in her freezer. So this is another option. Is there peas, you've got corn, you've got like these medleys. So those are things that you can do last minute. Prep is really important, but just be careful. The vegetables that are high in vitamin C, don't cut ahead of time because all that vitamin C is going to go away. And that's mainly your peppers and your tomatoes.
Okay.
So, but the lettuce and carrots and stuff like that, they're fine.
And soup. The other thing to do is soup. I mean, there's nothing better
Yeah,
than
if you throw spinach, kale,
yeah,
all kinds of stuff in the soup, you both cooked it, it's got vegetables in it, it's got fish. I mean, it's got, hopefully if you put protein in it. Yeah, soup is a good thing. Tomato soup is good.
Yeah.
I know, it's hard to say.
I make a tomato, zucchini, carrot soup with onion.
oh,
There we go.
Great.
There we go.
Good.
Lorna, bingo. Ding, ding, ding. You win.
So,
I had a question for Patricia.
yeah.
I'm curious about the spicy plum chutney.
Okay, yeah, all right. I get it from Whole Foods, and it's the Virginia Chutney Company, and they also sell it at Rodman's.
Okay.
And I use it with veggie burgers, for example. You can use it so many different ways. Very low sugar for a tablespoon, very low calories, no fat, and it's really a nice enhancement.
I find that putting a different condiment on a leftover makes all the difference.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Even just a little bit of, I love mustard, all the different kinds of mustards, high in sodium, but just a little bit gives you that satisfaction. In my case, I need to lose a lot of weight. So I've learned to just do a little and be happy with it.
Thank you, Patricia.
Yes.
That's
thank
a good idea. You can have the same vegetable base and just add different sauces to it. Makes a whole different
Exactly.
meal.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Jen.
I have used black bean pasta, by the way, and
Oh,
that-
black bean pasta is great. It's really
fabulous,
great.
and
It's
it's-
super low in carbs.
very low in carbs, and
Yeah.
you can keep it in the refrigerator. It
Yeah.
stays.
It doesn't
So that's a-
disintegrate.
It doesn't.
Oh, she's going to
disintegrate.
show and tell.
Oh, show and tell?
Yeah. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is
I see.
that?
Oh, I
Wait a
went,
minute, Jane.
this is another Trader Joe's. This is my addiction, mango ginger chutney.
Oh, from Trader Joe's?
That's Trader
Oh,
Joe's.
fantastic. Let's write
Mango
these down.
ginger chutney. It's just a little dab, like, I don't like meat much, But if sometimes like if I get lamb or something, I put that on the side and it's really good. Trader Joe's mango ginger chutney.
You know, I use chutney even with eggs. I mean, like a teaspoon or a tablespoon, something, just a little something that.
What was the name of your chutney?
Mine?
Yes.
Oh, it's of the Virginia Chutney Company, and it's the spicy plum.
Okay. I'll write it down. Okay.
Actually,
And-
another weakness I have, but Linda probably won't approve because I'm sure it's very high salt, is I love Indian pickles, like lime pickle on the side.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I like that stuff too, but just a teeny bit,
yeah, but oh, it livens things up.
doesn't it?
But
I
you know,
love
you
it.
guys, let's just talk about salt for a second. I'm assuming you don't want to have salt because you have hypertension, but they've proven that
I've reduced salt to 0 and up. It doesn't affect my blood pressure at all.
so don't worry about it. Eat
Yeah,
the, I'd rather that you eat the
I wanna
pickles
hear
and have
about
it on
salt.
vegetables than not eat the vegetables.
So Linda, I still
Jane,
want to hear what you were
yes.
going to say about salt.
What'd you say, Jane?
I still want to hear what you were going to say about salt, because I do have hypertension. I
Okay,
take medicine and it's controlled, but I.
right.
have-
Okay, and well, unless you're eating a whole box of salt. Okay, so they've proven that, first of all, the worst offenders of providing sodium in our body is processed food. Okay, and
Yeah.
they have shown that table salt has no impact on your hypertension whatsoever. Because
Really?
normally when we add a little bit of salt to our food, it's nothing compared to what industry adds. Okay, because salt is a preservative. So they need to add enough to keep the microbial count down. All right. So for us, we add a little bit for taste. So Jane, don't worry about it. Now
Oh,
with
that's
the
great, yeah.
pickles, look at the amount of sodium because you could treat yourself once a week. I mean, sometimes these things like hypertension are just hereditary. And you just have to deal with them, and it's not necessarily caused or reduced by reducing your sodium content. If you're a normal person eating a normal diet, if you're really going overboard on sodium, that's a different thing. But I'm assuming you guys are all rational people.
Just want to jump in real quick because we're getting a little low on time
Okay.
here as it gets closer to 4. Is if anyone that hasn't shared has any questions, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to do that in the next few minutes. But I'm enjoying the conversation. And if there is no questions from anyone that hasn't shared yet, do you have any sort of last thoughts you want to leave us with? Sort of last piece
Jane
of
had a
advice?
question, and then I'll leave you.
Well, it's a quick question. You said if you cut up some vegetables and leave it cut up for a while, then it loses its vitamin C. So I
Only
use,
peppers and tomatoes.
oh gosh, okay, because I do that with peppers. I cut them
You're
up.
not getting your vitamin C.
Okay, thank you.
Vitamin C oxidizes like that, man. I mean, it just the most the air comes and it's gone.
Oh,
So yeah. Okay, my last thoughts is everybody, you're doing a great job. Okay. My really strong recommendation is eat as many vegetables as possible. I mean, I'm definitely the protein queen, and I really feel like muscle and protein are really, really important, but also so is nutrition. And I'm just going to say, if you can just, well, Lorna, I don't know if this is a challenge for you, but for most of you guys, if you could just add an extra vegetable for lunch and dinner and add one extra fruit a day, you would be really helping to improve your health, really significantly. And make sure it's either red, green, orange, or, high vitamin C. And the other thing is, don't snack on shit to the extent possible. I mean, we're all going to do it, so I'm not going to say don't do it, but
So chocolate excluding
dark chocolate, yeah,
Mhm.
dark chocolate, yeah. And also, I will put a list of companies that deliver meals, because maybe give yourself a break once a week and just get some meals delivered, and that way you don't got to cook, because it's not only the prepping and the cooking, it's the cleaning of the pots and pans.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's everything involved. So we all know that we've, been moms, et cetera, et cetera. So again, it's always you guys challenge me every single time I give a talk. And I only prepare part of it because I know that you guys will drag the rest of it out of me. And this is really for you. This is, this is a goofy time, and be goofy, but also be healthy. And that's really my last thoughts.
Thank you, Linda.
So
Thank
much.
you, Linda. That was excellent, as
Wonderful
usual.
to see
Thank
you.
you.
Say what?
Wonderful to see you. Be well.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah.